day, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Welcome back. Today, what we're looking at is another subnetting challenge. All right, this is iTech 251 network management, and the bulk of network management is subnetting. All right, so let's get into it. What we have here on this diagram, this PDF diagram, is that we have a subnetting network topology. All right, so let me just break this down for you. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 routers. So we have our router X, which is not labeled, connected to a web server, connected to a serial cable to R1, another router. And this router is connected to 1, 2, 3 other routers via serial cable as well. Also, it has 2 fast Ethernet ports connected to subnet network, which requires 30 hosts each. So from R0 to R1, now via serial, it has another subnet network that requires 1, 2, 3, 4, 240 hosts. Right, R1 via fast Ethernet ports. Right, on a /24. Going back up to R0, we have R2 connected, which it's another router via serial. 1, 2, 3, 4, which requires 4,000 hosts on subnets, 16 subnets, 172.0/16. Right, all connected via fast Ethernet ports. And finally, from router 0, we have R3 connected, which requires 1, 2, 3, 4, 20,000 hosts, right, via fast Ethernet. So today what we're going to do, we're going to attempt to get the configuration for this entire subnetting, this network, right? And yeah, so let's go. All right, so to begin, let me just pull up Notepad. All right, so we're going to look at the first network, which is 20.165.200.224/30. All right, so immediately when you see /30, this network only could obtain 4 hosts, right? 4 hosts meaning that it could only give 4 connections from this subnet, right? /30. All right, I'll explain that in a little while. Just let me label it. This is the web server. All right, web server to X. All right, so this is a router X. All right, so that's 209.165.01.0/ again. We see our next /30. All right, don't worry. We're gonna take all these things just now. So this is router X to router 0. All right. Just want to label everything so the configuration will have it very clear. All right, so we have some router 0 to router. We're going to take them step by step to router R1, router 1. All right, that connection is 10.0.0.0/30, another /30. All right, so we have router 0 to router 2. All right, 10.0.0.4/30. Right, router 0, which is from here now to router 3. Router 3, 10.0.0.8/30. Right, and these are the network router connections. Right, and each one of the network I'm just gonna put, right, so R0 router 0 network. So each one of the router has a separate network by itself. 168.4.0/24. Alright, so that's router 0, router 1, router 1 network. Alright, so I'm just summarizing what is on the sheets in one note so that it would all become clear for me. This is how I visualize. Alright, so router 2 network, alright, which is 172.20.0.0/16, and then finally now for router 3 network, right, it's 172. What's this? 172.24.0.0/16. Alright, guys. So this is basically a summary of what is on this table. It looks like a lot, but working it out, we have a web server connected to a router, which I am assuming that gives that has all the detail for a company, ISP, whatever it is. All right, so it's connected to this router, and then this router it now leads to I would think this as a sub main router, which now shares the connection to 3 other routers. So each one of these routers has its separate network, right? And the requirements is different, meaning that the subnets and both hosts requirements are different. It varies, right? So router 0, router X connected to router 0 via /30. Now the /30, just let me pull up this diagram here. Right, so the /30 networks. So this diagram it's my holy grail. It's a template that how I would understand subnetting a little better. Right, so to the top is what we call the magic number. So for each octet, it has 8 bytes. So we'll go from here. So each octet has 8 bytes, and each bit has a placeholder, and each placeholder has a value. Right, so this is where the value is. This is the overall octet, and this now to the bottom, this row 4. All right, this would now have the number of hosts. Why I haven't populated it is because this number is significantly large, because this is the first octet. So this is like a class A and class B and class C. All right, so the octet would change based on the value or the octet whatever octet that we're looking at. This number of hosts will change, and this is the binary placeholder. All right, so let's just superimpose what this network caters for. So let me explain the /30. So this is /24 right now, and if we were to go /25, /26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. All right, so we put in /30 here, right? Meaning that the number of hosts would be 4, and the magic number would be 4. However, on a /30 subnet, we only allowed 4 hosts, and ideally, if we have 4 hosts, which would mean we only have 2 available, because we have to cater for the network address and the broadcast address. So /30 is basically just like from a point-to-point connection, meaning that it could only connect 2 devices because it only has 2 available IP address in general. So if we just jump back to this diagram, so from here to here, it's a /30, so that means this is a point-to-point connection. This also means it's a point-to-point connection. Similarly here, this connection too, and this connection. So all the connections from the router to the server to the router, it's a point-to-point. Router to router, point-to-point, and all the router to router connections are point-to-point connections, meaning that subnet is specifically designed just to connect that only. right? So if you were to look at this point 0, the first connection, it ends at, at 3, and this is where it starts. So it just continues this subnet, right? So these explains the /30 between the connection between all the routers are /30, right? So all /30 are that. So let's get into now the actual configuration of the first network, right? So router 1, which is 192.168.2.0/24. So /24 we will be looking at here, and the requirement for this router, for this network, sorry, network 1, we need 4 subnets, right? 4 subnets and 60 by 4 hosts, right? Per subnets, 6 hosts is 24, that's 240 hosts. That's how much we need. So for router 2, we need same 4 subnets. This is minimum, right? So this is the minimum that we need, and we need 1,000 by 4, which is 4,000 hosts. And for network 3, I wrote this in the wrong place. Alright, and for network 3, we need very similar to 4 subnets and 5,000 times 4, which is 20,000 hosts. Alright, so I think we finally completed with that. Alright, so network 1. Let's go into our network 1. So we're looking at subnet 4, and this is where we're starting. Right, but we want to find out, we want to get a subnet whereby we have access to 60 hosts, right? So 60 hosts, we're going to borrow some, this is bits, right? So we're not going to trouble with octet 3, so we're just going to use from octet, the final octet, which is octet 4, and we're going to borrow some bits. The zeros are host bits and the ones are network bits, right? And so this is my visualization of how I get it done. And we're going to go with 25, 26, all right? So we're going to leave it at 26 because this is the closest number to 60. 32 is less than in terms of number of hosts, and 64 is greater than, because we still have to factor in how we can use 2 of the networks that would be forming the subnet, right? However, we're going to get a lot of subnets, but that doesn't really matter. What matters is that we can use, out of all the subnets we have, we can use 4 subnets and we could have the number of hosts. So this is going to be a /26, right? So this network is going to be a 192.168.2.0/26, right? Let's get the subnet mask. Subnet mask one time, 255.255.255 dot, and we're just gonna add these 2 numbers, 128, right? 128. Let's pull up the calculator. 128 plus 64. All right, that's 192. All right, so that's our configuration for this network. I'm just gonna do the first subnet, right, just to get it, because it will be moving in increments of 64, right? Just the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to run through the first subnet, right? So we're going to start at 0, and we're going to go all the way up to 63, because 0 counts as 1, right? /26, right? And this is the first subnet, and we can go all the way up to, we'll get 64 networks of this, right? And let's look at router 2 network now. Router 2 network. Alright, so let me just backspace my template. Alright, so router 2 has 172.0.2 20. Right, so and that 16. So it starts on the 16, which is class full. Right, and we're looking for 1,000 hosts. Right, so 1,000 hosts. Right, sorry, 4,000 hosts. So we're gonna go all the way up here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're gonna borrow 4 bits from the third octet. Right, so this will be 17, 18, 19, and 20. Right? No, actually it's 1,000. So we could borrow some more bits. This now would be a little too big. 21, 22. All right, 1, 2. All right, so we borrowed six bits from this portion that goes to the network side, and we just have 2 host bits. Right, so this is /22, and we're gonna get the number of hosts, which is 1024, which is well below our range, and the number of networks is 4, which is exactly what is required. Right, so let me just write this down: 172.20.0.0/22. Right, that's our network subnet mask 255.255. Right, because we're using the first 2 octets. Now we just have to add up from 2128 to 4, and that would give our subnet mask. So let's do our calculation: 128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16 plus 8 plus 4. Right, and that's our subnet 252. 252.0. Alright, so that's our subnet mask for this network. Right. Similarly, we're going to do our first network. Right, on the subnet. That's 0. So it's 255. We added in increments of. Right, 255. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be 3.255/22. Yeah, so the first subnet of this network, let's do it. All right, so what a trick that I normally do, I would normally look at the number of hosts, which is 1,000. All right, and we will divide that by 4. 255, sorry, it's 1024 divided by 255. All right, so it's roughly around 4. So I know for sure that that the network would be 172.20.3.255. Well, 254, right? Because 0 counts as 1/22. All right. So how I arrived at this is this number goes up to 255, and it counts from the right, goes to the right, from right to left. So from here it would be like from 1, 2. So when this reaches 255, it would now go over to here. It will be 1, and this resets to 0. So this would go up now to 255, and this would go to 2, and this goes back to 0. So this would be counting like this until you reach 1024, and this is how we arrive at this number. Right? Yeah. So let me change this back now to 0/24. Alright, so this is for router number 2, and our final network, which is network. Let me remove these. This is my template, and our final network is network 3, 172/16. So we're looking at /16 as well, and subnet at 5,000 hosts per network. Alright, so 5,000 would mean this is greater. I would say 8192. So this is 17, 18, 19. So we're gonna get /19 network. Alright. Let me just write this out. So it's 172.24.0.0/19, and our subnet is 255.255. We're going to add up these three first placeholders, the values for the first three placeholders in this octet, and this is 128 plus 64 plus 32, and again we get 224.0. Alright, so that's our subnet mask, and we're going to do our first subnet. 172.24. So this is 8190. Alright, so remember, this is subnets, so we're going to get more than 4 networks, which we're going to get 32 networks. 32 is our magic number, and we're going to get, instead of 5,000, we will get 8192 hosts on each subnet. Yes, we always over calculates because we cannot get an exact value for what exactly we want, so we always go with the higher number just in case of additions and whatnot. Alright, so we add this step now to calculate for router 3 on this subnet. So it's my little trick, 8192 divided by 255. Alright, so this is 32. Alright, 32. Alright, so that'll be 32, that'll be 31. Alright, so 31.254. Alright, so that will be our first subnet for this network. Alright, and this is pretty much what we covered. We covered everything. Oh, no, we haven't. I forgot router 0 has a network as well. So let me just do that as well. Alright, so this is at /24. We just have 30 hosts. This shouldn't be too bad. Alright, so 30 hosts. We're gonna go with 32, 24, 25, 26, 27. So we're gonna get a /27 network. We're gonna borrow 1, 2, 3 bits from this octet. Alright, so it's 192.168.4.0/27, and the subnet mask is 255.255.255. And we just add up the octets, which is very similar to what we did just now. So we'll get 224. Just let me double check that. 128 plus 64 plus 32, 224, correct? And we're going to do our first subnet for this network, which is we move in, the magic number is 32, and we move in increments of 32 hosts, 32 subnets. We only need 2 subnets. That's not a problem. We just pull any 2 subnets, but I'm just going to do, for this tutorial, I'm just going to do the first 2 subnets. Alright, so this is first subnet, 192.168.4.0, and it goes up to the rate of 31/27, and that is it. I guess we've covered basically everything for this subnetting skills. What's obviously, if we're gonna do this in Packet Tracer, it's gonna be a lot of host systems. So hence the reason why I took this approach in terms of just doing the settings and configuration for this tutorial. Alright guys, so thank you so much. If you have any questions, do let me know. I trust that my explanations was vivid and it would bring some clarity. Alright, so this is what I've been working on for this entire semester. This is iTech 125 Network Management. Thank you so much.